the story.
Of a lovely lady.
Well, we have a special guest with us today. How is everybody this morning?
Very, very tired. I teed that up
Tired?
for just
Okay.
Are you tired? I'm tired as well. So
Oh,
Jarvis
I'm
is like
pretty
the
good.
Wizard of
I'm drinking my
Oz.
espresso.
He's like the man behind the curtain of this group.
I
ooh, I
love it.
love it.
I love it.
love
Well, guys, it is 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. in God's time zone. So that
The
means it
only
is time
time
for
zone.
Today in Travel. We have a very, very special guest with us today. I am Jason Poole. I'm a travel advisor with Cruise Planners. You guys all know the guest in the middle, but if for some reason we have a first-time viewer, the lady of the hour, please introduce yourself to people.
Hello, everybody. For those of you that are new, my name is Haley. I am a travel blogger and I own a hotel sales support company because I like making hotels money. Love traveling everywhere, but I'm trying to think of how this looks for everybody else. I'm just going to look. Left.
That
To my
way,
left.
yeah.
it.
Yes, yes.
Sir, would you like to
How are
introduce
you?
yourself?
I certainly would. I am Ken Jarvis. I am a frequent floater and frequent flyer, and very knowledgeable on the travel industry since I've been a business traveler for a number of years pre-pandemic, and also one of the Facebook group. And I don't even think I'm a guest, right? I'm like family.
You are absolutely family. Absolutely family. And I can't.
Although I'm only invited back like every 6 to 8 weeks, but you know how that goes.
Well, because you're traveling so much. You're always traveling.
Right.
Business
Awesome.
travel. What is that?
I am glad you're here because we're talking about your favorite companies, Delta, Carnival, just all of Ken Jarvis's favorite topics. Well, let's dive in.
Yes. So I did
Let's
not
go.
do slides because we have 3 faces this morning. So
Oh, that's fine. Okay. Well, we will jump through the news. Well, guys, Haley and I's beloved airline, Delta.
and
They
Jarvis
came out with some news last week that they're revamping their loyalty program that to earn your medallion status. And to not to bury the lead, they're just raising the threshold for spend to hit status with Delta for everything above the first level. So the big change is Diamond went from $15,000 a year spend to $20,000 a year spent.
staggering. That is
So
staggering. I think they're weeding out all the accelerator loyalty people. Jarvis, this is a big topic for you. That's my take on this. They're weeding out the people that got status because of the accelerators.
You know what I find very interesting is they're really trying to push flying again. And one thing we saw during the pandemic when people weren't flying, they had to do things to allow people to still maintain their status. When I look at, and not to step on Delta with American went completely the other way last year, where your credit card, whatever you spend on their credit card, directly goes into your mile bank. So there's no more segments, miles. So if you just spend everything on your credit card, so basically American Airlines turned into a bank, right? Not an airline, where Delta now is doubling down on people, as we call it, butts in chairs. People who are buying those long flights will get the status perks. So it's really sad for the non-business travelers because I think it's going to be tough to spend $20,000.
No, so to get up through silver, gold, and platinum, especially if you have the Delta Amex, it's going to be pretty easy to maintain. So if you hit $25,000 a year in your Delta Amex, the spend doesn't matter; it's waived. So for like people like Haley and me, like maintaining platinum is going to be pretty easy to do. But I really think they're trying to get the diamond status back to what it was pre-pandemic, or for those long haul business travelers. But look, there's too many diamonds. I mean, I might hit diamond this year, and I shouldn't. I'm not a business. I'm I'm not, I don't have a corporation paying for me to travel all the time. So
you're not a road warrior. You're
I'm not
in
a
an
road
airport
warrior.
every week.
Right. So
No.
if I'm Diamond, I might be one and done.
And that's where you also see Delta's also pushing the envelope pricing wise. Like I notice a lot more often than not when I'm doing my Google flight search or whatnot and I'm searching an itinerary, the second I go and check SkyTeam to narrow down the results, on long hauls it's at least a $400 or $500 jump.
Wow.
In comparison
I
United
mean,
or American, 100%. Like they're going really hard on that revenue management right now.
But think about it, right? If you are the best, then you believe being the best, there's a premium. We see that in most industries, right? We see it in communications. We see it in hotel industry, right? In the airline industry, for being the best. Now, are you able to maintain your loyalty to keep your base willing to pay that extra money versus potentially some of our viewers that are value travelers?
Absolutely.
Right? So
100%.
you may love Delta, but if American is $700 cheaper, you may be making different decisions when it, directly hits your pocketbook.
Oh, 100%. I think for those long hauls too, like we've discussed, like hard product, there's not much of a difference. If anything, I think I would give hard product, depending on the plane going across the pond, but like I might give it to American actually over Delta, because I mean some of those, swivel chair first class those are nice.
Right.
They are
very,
nice.
very different.
Yeah. They are no.
Jason and I were literally joking yesterday. We're like, I see all the pictures and stuff of the new Delta planes. I'm like, where are they? I'm like, I still want to in my
lifetime, right? It takes a long time to build planes and ships. And then the network is so big, where do you see them? And you know what people don't understand? A lot of times it's about pilots, because you have to upskill those pilots into those new planes, and you need to create a base. Because to fly, the reserve pilot needs to fly. So you've got to train so many pilots that when they bring on new planes, it takes really a long time before you get to fly in them.
And then not to mention the staffing crisis, as we've discussed.
That's I think that's the biggest story in the travel industry right now, is the staffing crisis.
Oh, it's awful. I mean, that's what makes my company very appealing to a lot of people, is that staffing crisis. But like, Jarvis kind of said, bringing it back to that pricing, there's just, depending on the type of hotel that we support, even, if it's a higher end Marriott, Hilton, Hyatt, there's certain types of business we just won't take because of the rate, because, the cost to operate is higher. I tell hotels all the time, it's much better to sit at 80% at your goal rate at like a $159 than selling out at a $99 rate, because it's the breakfast, it's the housekeeping, it's the utilities, it's everything.
No, absolutely. Well, moving on to our featured guest favorite cruise line. Carnival Cruise Line has decided to revamp its room service program, and they are now charging a la carte pricing for almost everything. So salads are $4 to $5. You want chicken or bacon on it, there's even additional fee. Sandwiches, like, $5, $6, $7. So I wonder. Again, it makes sense, because when I was a kid, so my very, very first cruise ever was Carnival, and I was 14, 15. And I remember just thinking the room service was the coolest thing in the world, right? And we would order club sandwiches, PB&J, I mean, just constantly. So maybe this is trying to get them, to calm down the room service charge. Do you guys like this, or do you think this is a step in the wrong direction?
Me? I'll let Jarvis take this one, because I have thoughts, and I'm curious to see if they're the same.
Sure. So let's think about evolution here. most of the time you're ordering room service late night after you've been drinking and partying, and you can't decide what you want. So you pick up the phone and you say, I want wings, I want a salad, I want a burger, I want the bolognese, I want French fries, I want chicken fingers. Bottom line is you probably eat 2 or 3 things, throw them away. So then the cruise line said, well, we're going to now charge a room service delivery fee, but you could still order all of those multiple things on the menu. So 2 o'clock in the morning, $5.99 to $7.99, who cares? I want pizza, chicken fingers, all this, and this. You don't need it, right? So now the next, let's narrow it down to what you really want. And look, everybody's doing things not for the customer. They're doing things to save money, especially when you look at the cruise lines whose balance sheets to get through pandemic with the amount of money that they had to borrow at horrible interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's trying to fix your balance sheet. So this is a cost-saving effort and trying to align to what people really eat. I can tell you plenty of times I wake up in the morning and I'm like, wow, look at all this room service. None of it's been eaten, right? I took 1 piece of pizza, 1 French fry, and I went to bed. So this is an effort by the cruise lines to rein in their food cost chain issue, right? So I understand it, probably don't like it, but I understand why they're doing it.
I agree.
I think I understand the why, like Jarvis. I personally don't like it from the appeal of, most people that are going on a cruise. I mean, like, cruise ships are really maximizing their balcony rooms right now. Like, you've seen it on Oasis Class, like really trying to maximize that appeal to going on a cruise, sitting on your balcony, having champagne, having breakfast, having something. I think this diminishes that a bit. And I think especially, cruising isn't, depending on where it is, it's not fully back quite yet. Like, I mean, there's great numbers, but it's not fully there depending on the line. I like having that option, and I think people like having that option of not sitting in a, crowded buffet, figuring out where you're going to sit, especially on a family line. And honestly, that's what was really nice about Disney. There wasn't even a cover charge for room service, to be able to sit in there with your family, not in a hectic, crazy dining room or whatnot, or even just, with your significant other just wanting to decompress. I think that diminishes that, let's, have lunch on our balcony and enjoy our room. So that's where I come at it from, that guest service point that I'm not a huge fan of.
So I'm in favor, so like, when we did Virgin earlier this year, or, when we were on, like on Royal or Celebrity, they're, for the most part, they're waiving those fees for the suite passengers. So I am kind of okay with this, it's if they waive it for the high-end people that are paying the big bucks for the suites.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know that on Virgin, right? So I was ordering, I remember ordering dinner in my room after that wonderful vegan meal that we had. I've never wanted a cheeseburger so badly in my life, right? And people were complaining about, Virgin's delivery fees, and I was in a suite and didn't even know there was delivery. I didn't even know that there was, but they waived them for the suites. So I'm okay.
One thing I think we have to also keep in mind, policies change, right? They do listen to the customer fee. Carnival writes on the survey, this is the worst possible thing that happened, and we're never cruising again. They will roll it back.
Well, I mean, remember when Royal Caribbean came out and changed their room service, right? So didn't like the delivery fee. People lost their minds, but then people paid it and just kind of went with it, right? Like Haley and I are complaining about the $20,000 Delta, but you know what? We're just gonna keep flying Delta and be happy with platinum medallion status, right?
And just be okay with it. And I think that's part of it. And I think there is that understanding. I think Amazon, sorry guys. They always
going to the dogs here.
But no, what I was saying is just like, I think the flat fee, the delivery fee makes sense. I think the per item fee is kind of a bit much for me.
And I think they'll change that because people in the Carnival boards are going crazy.
Right. All right. Well, let's move it to American Airlines. American Airlines has announced they're going to increase its premium seat, its premium economy selection up to 45% in the next 4 years on all of its wide body products. So if you guys don't know, the premium economy, premium select airlines have different names for it. Kind of this new trend in the airline industry where, it's not quite, a lay down flat business class seat that we see up front, but it's better than economy. And this is on your long haul internationals, coast to coast. So we're seeing this trend in all the airlines increasing like the premium economy. I have a theory I think this with Delta, I think it all makes sense. What do you guys think? Jarvis, you fly more than anybody I know. Do you like this trend of the
take this one first?
So this is what's interesting. Do you have a separate item for what they're also doing in their business class with the flagship suites, or should I
didn't
talk about?
No, please go ahead. No, please go ahead.
This is your time to shine, my love.
Okay, so just to clarify one thing that Jason said, it's not on their full wide body product. It's on their new A3 long haul planes and on their brand new 787-9 planes. So those are the long range. So essentially what they're doing is they're increasing their business class. They're putting in suites. Suites have a door that closes, giving you more storage space. They're also going to give you some improved soft product stuff in terms of food. But what's interesting is they're also doing that in premium economy, right? So they're giving you, and go take a look at the pictures. They look amazing, those seats. But what they're really doing is telegraphing where they see the market going in the future. So it's very interesting that they're putting this on a narrow body, one aisle, 3 and 3 for regular people, and Airbus. That Airbus, I did a little research this one because I said, that's really weird that you would put something so nice on that small plane. But that small plane has 4,700 mile range. So essentially what that now does, it allows you from the East Coast to get to all of Europe. It allows you to get from the East Coast to South America. It also has the range to get from the East Coast to Hawaii. So what they're showing you is they are going after what they call long, thin. You can't have a 777. These two city locations do not warrant having a 777 because there's 350 seats on it, but it does warrant a 150 seat plane. So they're giving you great product, and then they'll start, hey, what about JFK to Lima, Peru? What about JFK to Hawaii? So what they're saying is they believe that the industry is going to get stronger and that there will be opportunities for long, thin routes. So I look for other airlines, Delta and United, to start doing the same thing, because most of the times the airlines stay together great, but the seats are the first part of the strategy to open up new markets where those markets would not fulfill big wide body planes. So very, very interesting them doing this and really getting ahead of Delta and United, but the airline industry, everybody catches up very, very quickly. So I anticipate you'll see the same type of thing happen. Look, economists talk about a recession. There's no recession for wealthy people right now. And there's no recession for people who want to travel, right? So when you give them this better product, we might not look at first class fares, right? $4,000, $5,000. A lot of people can't afford that. $100 to have a nicer seat in a long haul flight.
Think about me even going to London this weekend, right? So Virgin Atlantic upper class round trip was depending on when I looked at it, from $5,000 to $6,000. I'm just not paying $5,000 to $6,000 for London. I'm just not gonna do it, right? Economy was $700, but their premium product was $1,200.
Right, there we go, right there.
And so I was oh,
yep.
I'll do premium, right? So I think we're getting back to the pricing model of the business class is really for business people. right? It's when corporations pay. Where corporations pay, right? No, so I think some of us, myself included, got very spoiled by $2,000 Delta One to Athens and back during the pandemic, right? I mean, we got really spoiled. So, but we talked about a couple weeks ago, Delta, and they're all revamping their premium product. I think they realize, hey, there's a lot of Haleys and Jasons out there who don't have a corporation buying business, but we'll pay a little bit more for premium. So I think,
and I think
this makes sense.
Comes out of the pandemic too, is like, I think we all became a lot more cognizant of like how crowded things feel, and that you're willing to pay for a less crowded experience. Like,
yes,
obviously, like being like a plus size lady, my husband's a big guy. Like, we're just at the point, like on these long haul planes, I don't want to sit in regular economy for 7+ hours. Like, I just don't want to do it. I want to be able to maybe put my feet up a little bit and not be sitting in a row of 4. Don't want to do that anymore.
Right. No,
but
so
I think that the pandemic kind of sparks that too. It's like less seats, better seats. Charge more goes back to that pricing model that you kind of discussed. You have to weigh out. Yeah, you could fill a plane with a bunch of, even before the pandemic, I got round trip on British American to Italy for $300 round trip.
Wow.
I mean, you can fill a plane at, $300 round trip and all those little seats, but you could also do a lot less work, less seats, more premium seats.
No, that's so true. So, Ken, I was planning to discuss this, debate this, hash out this with Haley before I even knew you were going to be on the show today. So it is it is just a gift from the gods that you are here.
The old
because the old and the new. I swear this was not targeted to you. It was for Haley and me. Our question of the day. People keep asking me. I get this question all the time. Haley and I flushed it out many times, but I think it's worthy to bring it up again. Is talking about elite statuses with travel companies. Okay, so airlines, hotels, cruise lines. What matters and what's just a pretty postcard, right? So let's kind of narrow our focus to just 3: hotels, cruise lines, and airlines.
Yeah, because to be fair, I don't think car ones really matter as much unless you're talking like National Emerald.
That is true. I mean, I have a blind spot for car rentals because the last time I rented a car, Haley, was with you in Hawaii, 3 years ago. I just don't really rent cars, right?
Just no. It's terrible.
I just don't rent cars. Right. So, so for the sake of this argument, I'm throwing out car rentals because I am not an expert in that realm whatsoever. So we'll narrow it to airlines, cruise lines, and hotels. So let's start with, if you only had to have a top status with one of them, which would you pick and why? So Haley, we will start with you.
Which segment are we starting with, though?
So whatever, like if you had to pick a top, like if you could be, top status with your favorite hotel line, top status with your favorite cruise line, or top status with your favorite airline, which would you pick?
For me, it'd probably be a tie between hotel and airline. I don't see the cruise program.
You got to pick one. Well.
But I'd probably go airline, just because you get so many perks with the credit cards. Like, with your platinum, you get that instant gold with Marriott and Hilton, and honestly, with a credit card, you can maximize and get up there pretty quickly. Personally, it probably comes down to airline for me because it's the nice perks of traveling with a family. Like, I like having, we talk crap about Comfort Plus not being that great, but, it's nice when I'm traveling with my family to have that auto pickup when you're buying tickets times 2, 3, 4 people. that gets pricey. You know, having that extra luggage allotment, I find is really helpful. And also that goes to those upgrade certificates too. Like it's nice to have some of those when I'm traveling with family, you know, when we may want to fly first class, but I don't want to pay for it for 3 people. So I'd probably go airline. Jarvis?
I'm going to go airline as well for many of the things you just said. And, you know, although I'm not a huge, don't believe he's, you know, unbiased, he does a great thing where he actually quantifies what each status level is worth in dollars.
Right.
And you will find airlines, you get a lot more bang for your buck by having status with all of the things that Haley just said. So if I had to choose one, I would say airline status matters. And just to also just put an asterisk on it, if you're a business traveler where your company buys you coach and you're traveling every week, that status for free upgrades is absolutely huge if you're a business traveler. And you get more value from hotel upgrades. So I'm going to go airline.
Airline. So I am also going to go airline because of, I mean, not without rehashing, it's the free upgrade, you know, to sit up front. It's the free luggage. It's the, you know, it's the global or, you know, domestic certificates for, you know, free upgrades. It's the faster or the shorter wait time when you call the desk, you know, when you need help.
Yes.
I mean, I think about Haley and I stranded at JFK. We saw the line for hours, and we both got on the phone with Delta in 30 seconds, right? So, you know, I think it matters. Now, here's the next question. So we both, all three of us agree airlines are number one. What's the least important of the other two? Hotel or cruise line status?
Cruise ship. I think the only true features I ever use is if we're talking Royal, you know, the free drinks today are great. I honestly don't really drink that much unless I'm with you guys. I don't.
Wait, you don't drink a lot?
Unless I'm cruising with you guys.
Is Jeff in the room or something? What?
You know, and the free bag of laundry is nice on a long cruise with Celebrity. But I don't know. I just don't use those perks. You know, I like my hotel perks because I get the accelerators to accelerate my points, to use on free stays when I don't get that nice employee rate. I like my upgrades. I think Bonvoy does a bit better than Hilton when it comes to upgrading reservations. You know, even when you look at Hyatt on that scale for their globalists where they can share that status and whatnot, I just think the perks are much more versatile in the hotel world. Jarvis.
Mr. Jarvis?
So I think with the drink package cost per day going through the roof, I'm going to say I think having status on a cruise ship matters now, especially if you can't afford a drink package. You know, if you're Diamond, you get 4 free drinks a day. If you're Diamond Plus, you get 5 on Royal. So I think there's a lot of value in that. So I'm going to say the hotel, having a bigger room is very, very nice. But I think to get the benefits in terms of free rooms, I think depending upon your hotel brand, it takes a long time to amass enough points if you don't have the credit card as well. So I'm going to say hotel are the least valuable, at least to me.
And the kind of it depends on kind of travel you do. And
right.
So probably lead into you too, Jason.
So I am probably going to side with Ken here. So in my mind, it is, would I rather be globalist with Hyatt, or would I rather be Zenith with Celebrity or Pinnacle with Royal Caribbean? Yeah. And that is an easy pick for me. Now, granted, I'm not a business traveler. I'm not a road warrior. I'm not living in Hyatts. I'm not living in Marriotts, right? So for the non-business traveler, I mean, like, look, if you're Zenith with Celebrity, you get free Wi-Fi and a free drink package. Like, I mean, that's a really nice perk, especially with Celebrity doing cruise only pricing if you're not in the retreat. I mean, that's a really nice perk. Book a balcony room, cruise only price, you get free drinks, free Wi-Fi. I mean, that's nice, right?
And like we mentioned, it kind of comes back to that the type of travel you're doing. Like I haven't been as cruise heavy lately. I've been doing a bit more on land. So, I think it just depends on what kind of traveler you are. But I think, kind of to Ken's point too, like Royal making that change with the drink packages for their elite members, that kind of, I think, put a little bit more value and stock into that loyalty program. Because the coupon booklets just weren't weren't doing.
Oh my god, I forgot about those. I
I
forgot about that. So Ken, so to kind of talk about hotels for a minute. When you were a road warrior, and you hit top status with Hyatt, right? How often were you really getting benefits from your globalist status?
Percent of the time, I would get an upgrade into a suite.
Okay.
Having paid for the cheapest king room. One of the things also is lounge access. And depending upon the brand of Hyatt, if you're in a Grand Hyatt, the lounge has heavy food. So you could essentially eat all of your meals, at least breakfast and lunch, in the clubs, which then saves you on money out of pocket. So there are a lot of, I don't want to say that there are no benefits of being in top status in a hotel brand, because there definitely are. And look, the nice rooms, the suites are always nice, right? The free upgrades, the free breakfast, the club access. Many of them have free drinks in the lounge in the afternoon. So there's a lot of 85% of the time I would get upgraded to a bigger room. And I always had the option of free breakfast. I mean, I don't really eat breakfast, but for some people, that is a huge, huge deal to get free breakfast, especially if you're with your family.
I'm not the only one that doesn't eat a hotel breakfast, unless I'm like truly on like a leisure vacation. I'll do that kind of like room service on my balcony kind of thing. Like when I stay at the Addition, I did the chia seed pudding with the fruit and all that jazz. But I never eat hotel breakfast. I usually bring like protein mix or something like that.
Yeah, no, that is great. I enjoyed that discussion. All right, so the travel tip of the day, Haley. I don't really. This is all you. So teach us your tip.
I came across this on a revenue call yesterday. I was sitting on one of our hotel's revenue calls, and God, I just thought this was common sense. And I guess maybe this is me being very naive. Things don't shock me often, but I was kind of taken aback. There has been an uptick in people going on. A lot of hotels run promos like, if you stay 3 nights, you'll get 15% off. If you stay 4 nights, you get 20% off. They're having a lot of people book these rates and check out early. And then it's becoming this huge debacle, because technically the hotel has the right to charge you an early checkout fee. So there's people that are trying to quote hack it. And then I think I saw a TikTok video of somebody talking about this, and I was enraged last night.
Are early checkout fees common?
Honestly, I haven't ever had to do a lot of them. The only time that I do is if there's somebody that's negotiated an extended stay rate. They said they were going to stay with me for 60 days, so I gave them X rate, and then they're trying to check out at 2 weeks. Like, I gave you this rate based on 60 days, and that's the way I word it in my contracts. But there is this uptick. And then I was talking with some of my GDOS team that works for me, and they kind of noticed this uptick in this. So do not think you're being smart, because you are going to run into a problem, and they will, in essence, go back and charge you what the bar rate should have been for those days. So
okay,
something to keep in mind.
I would say about 5 years ago, I started noticing when I checked in that on the bill for Hyatt, it said there's an early checkout fee. And I was surprised by that, especially as a business traveler. Things change. Things are very, very fluid. Hey, I need you to go to this meeting here. Hey, I need you to go to this meeting there. So I was very, very mindful in checking in that I verified the dates with them once they implemented that fee.
And of course, the hotel can always use its discretion, but the reason, that hotels are putting out, it's a revenue management strategy. It's like, the longer length of stay, the less housekeeping is flipping rooms every day. That's trying to extend and get over those shoulder nights to increase some occupancy, which then throws off forecasts. So I get that. That was just something I saw and I was like, I gotta make that a travel tip. Like, don't book those kind of rates, eat and check out. And that's all in that fine print too, like early checkout fees and whatnot. Of course, if you come up and be like, oh my God, I had a death in the family, they're not going to charge you an early checkout fee. That doesn't mean to use that either. But yeah, there's just something I saw.
No, that is great. So
I can tell you one. So I had to leave early, and they said they would not waive the fee for me. So I said, okay, I won't check out. I'll check out on the app from home tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you would think they would want the room.
Right. That's what I would think also.
Yes and no. So in that situation, I personally love that situation because it depends on the time of day. If you're doing that at like 4 or 5 p.m., you're starting to run into that, how much time you have left to resell that room. But if it's busy enough, and you resell that room, that in essence pushes you over 100% occupancy, which is a fun little thing, but it's not best practice to do that. I know that my GMs usually make the deal like, if I can resell your room, I won't charge you.
Nice.
That's fair. Well, before we wrap up, where is everybody traveling next? Haley, where's your next trip?
I head to Florida for a wedding this week and doing the Epcot Wine and Food Festival. Mickey's Not So Scary this weekend. Then after that, it's Rome.
Very nice. Mr. Jarvis?
I'm heading to Barcelona for the continuation of KJ's amazing fall, exclusively on Today in Travel. So stay tuned. I have a really coming up.
Barcelona. Jesus. And then I fly out in 2 days to London. I'm going just for a long weekend, staying at the Churchill Hyatt Regency for just a long weekend to hang out in London.
Which, by the way, before we part, shouldn't you tell Mr. Jarvis what you found on the Platinum American Express yesterday? Oh. You said there was a Hyatt offer.
Oh, there was a Hyatt offer. Yeah, it was like
you don't see Hyatt often. There's a bunch of little offers in there. There's also a Marriott like premium like W edition line, like 100 off of 500 and stuff like that. But he's like, I have a Hyatt one, and I just.
Oh, nice. That's going to come in very handy. There's a Silver Sea one.
Yeah, so I added the Hyatt one. So I mean, it'll trigger this weekend at the Churchill.
And that's something to always keep in mind too. Like I always put that reminder in the first of the month to check your airline promos. American Express is famous for sprinkling in some other ones throughout the month. So make sure I always check weekly.
Nice. Well, guys, this is wonderful. If you are just joining us, we do this every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, wherever you find streaming videos. Any parting words from either of you?
Nope. Arrivederci.
We'll see you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you next week.